Hello all. In the first PT tip, I reviewed the 2 phases of recovery. The question then comes up, how much activity should I do? In other words, how do you find the Goldilocks level of activity? Not too little, not too much, just right. It's important to realize that this level, by necessity, is different for the 2 phases of recovery. To make this more digestible, I'm breaking this down into 2 separate videos. The first video covers how to find the Goldilocks level for your concussion phase. The second shows how to find the level for persistent post-concussive symptoms phase. Even if your concussion just happened, or if it happened quite some time ago, I still recommend you watch both videos. This to see how the 2 approaches differ in very important ways. I've noticed that many sufferers do a kind of hybrid of the 2 versions. In my opinion, doing this does not lead to optimal recovery. So let's start with the concussion phase. This lasts for 4 to 8 weeks from the original injury. A series of graphs will help to illustrate how to find the Goldilocks activity level for concussions. These graphs show different reactions that concussed individuals have to their symptoms. I've entitled them the too hot, too cold, and just right graphs. The 4th graph illustrates what happens if you more or less get it right. A concussed individual usually starts with low or no symptoms. As they become more active in the day, their symptoms tend to increase. The area below the dashed line is when you've had low symptoms or are symptom-free. The too hot graph at the top illustrates the most common behavior for those with a concussion, especially a new one. It shows an individual repeatedly overdoing activities compared to their available energy. As a result, they are continually forced into rest by spiking symptoms. In contrast, the second, too cold graph shows an individual who is afraid of getting symptoms and therefore does too little. In this case, they feel more or less okay, but they never challenge the brain sufficiently to help it learn how to recover fully. The third, just right graph shows someone who is trying to stay around their symptom threshold. Please realize to get this right, you do not need to be Miss or Mr. Perfect. The final graph shows that by staying more or less on budget, you're able to gradually do more and more with less and less rest. You say, this is all very well in theory, but how do I know when I'm overdoing it? To help, I will give you some symptom-action rules. For the first 1 to 2 months of the concussion, you should use these rules over and over again. But please don't keep using these rules beyond the 2-month mark. That is, except in the case of 1, a big flare-up, or 2, a new concussion. Here are 5 symptom-action rules for concussions that really work to 1, settle your brain, and 2, speed recovery. First, if you have a given symptom, for example a headache, within common sense, be as active as you can. But if a symptom increases more than a little, or if a new symptom comes on, for example dizziness, stop. Take 5 minutes rest, close your eyes, plug your ears if it's safe, breathe slowly and deeply, and try to quiet your mind as much as you're able. Second, after rest, switch to doing something different. If you were doing something mental, for example doing insurance paperwork, egad, switch to doing something physical. Go for a walk. Keep switching back and forth all day long between mental and physical activities. As mental and physical activities use different parts of the brain, you are giving your brain a double rest. Next, pay attention to your morning's level of symptoms. All things being equal, if generally you wake up with stronger symptoms compared to the end of the previous day, this does not mean you have done anything wrong. Instead, it means your density was too high and you've overdone it that day. Fourth, while doing specific exercises, your symptoms are likely to increase. These flares are perfectly fine so long as the increase is tolerable to you and so long as your symptoms return to their pre-exercise level within about 60 minutes. If not, decrease the difficulty of the exercise, the number of reps, and or the exercise duration. Finally, if you can't always follow these guidelines 100%, don't worry, you're not causing yourself harm. These guidelines are just trying to optimize your recovery. Now, as an additional tip, a symptom activity log can be extremely helpful during this phase. You can find a simple free one on my website, www.paulgodleski.com/concussion-exercise-tools/. Look for Appendix D. In the next video, I will discuss how to find the Goldilocks level for PPCS.